What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and I don't know what's more in tatters, our defense or this shirt right now. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. How can I see the problems? And all of the coaches and the analysts and everybody at the club that's supposed to be working together to come up with the best lineup, how can they not see the problem? Three issues, which you switch around, and all of a sudden we've got a 100,000% chance. I don't even know how much of a chance, but we're definitely not losing this game if we just put in a better lineup. Cahill, David Luiz, why are they in our defense? Why are they in our defense? I do not get it. Cahill has been awful this season. Rudiger, playing well. Why doesn't he play over Cahill? Why does Cahill continue to get the start over Rudiger? He doesn't deserve it. He's not good enough. Rudiger has put in quality performances. He was probably our best player against Man City. Made a couple of very great blocks on the line even. And just doesn't get to start. It's unbelievable. David Luiz. Last game he was in the Premier League, he gets a stupid red for a stupid challenge. Last game he played was against Atletico Madrid, worst player on the pitch, gave away a penalty. He's back in. And he's terrible. Christensen has been playing great. He was our second best player against Man City. And yet, Rudiger, Christensen, both on the bench. Cahill, David Luiz, both playing. And it killed us. It absolutely killed us. We gave away 2 goals to Crystal Palace, the team that has not scored this season. We got scored on twice. That should be enough to say, all right, David Luiz, Gary Cahill, done. No more, done. It doesn't matter who we play, as long as it's not one of those two, they're done. Because I'm sick of watching it. I'm sick of watching them just goof around. I'm sick of watching David Luiz revert back to the old David Luiz that we sold. He's back there. I talked about whenever he got the red card, I'm like, is he going back there? Because he had a few crazy challenges, he had a few long balls, but he played pretty well that game. But I'm like, is he starting to revert back against Atletico Madrid? A lot more of those crazy challenges, a lot more of the crazy balls upfield. Tonight, all crazy balls, crazy challenges. He's not putting in challenges when he should be. He's making terrible decisions. It's the old David Luiz. He's back, and he's terrible as ever. Cahill provides nothing. He is getting just outpaced, outrun, outstrengthed even. I know that's not a word, but he's not good enough. Zaha and Townsend were running all over him tonight, and he couldn't have an answer for it because he's not good enough. And the worst part about all this is, it makes Aspilicueta look terrible because he has to do so much back there. It's like you can see the tension that gets put on him because he's running everywhere. And that's the thing that I really, really, really hate about this back line is that it makes your best defender look terrible because now he's got to do so much that he ends up doing too much. He ends up running too fast and trying to beat somebody to the ball when he doesn't have to because he does have help back there, but he feels like he doesn't have help because his other 2 defenders are playing terribly. So he feels like he's got to take on the entire burden by himself, and it just ends up looking like he's running around with like a chicken with his head cut off. And it's not good enough. And so that's what that back line gives you. It gives you 2 goals given up against Palace, who are the worst team in the league, who haven't scored a goal, who haven't even gotten a point this season. Not only did they get their first goals, they got their first points of the season off of us. That's embarrassing. Another problem that I'm having, why is William playing? Don't get me wrong. Last year, 2 years ago, big William fan. I think he played really well. The season that we had a terrible season, I thought he was our best player, the only one that really tried throughout the entire season. Last season, I thought he was a better option than Pedro most of the time because Pedro's all, I'm going to have a shot, I'm going to try this very difficult pass, giving the ball away. And William was just very, I'm going to play my game, I'm just going to move the ball, maybe take on some of his speed. This year, over the past 3 games especially, he's done nothing. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if maybe everybody else has just gotten better and he's stayed exactly the same. But he's given the ball away. He's not being able to run past anybody. He's being outmuscled. He's not a factor anymore. And he still continues to play. I'm not necessarily saying Pedro would have done better, but he at least sometimes pops up with this great shot out of nowhere that can get you back into the game if you need it. So yeah, all those three problems should have been easy fixes. Should have been easy. All right, Rudiger Christensen played well last game. Our best two players on the field. Williams not playing well. It should be easy decision to say, all right, Rudiger Christensen in with Aspilicueta because playing him out on the right does not work, as we saw against Burnley and Man City. And William doesn't get the start today. But no, Conte, stubborn as hell, I guess, just same back line as always. Oh yeah, Aspilicueta, David Luiz, Cahill, that worked last year. It'll work this year. Even though Cahill and David Luiz are playing worse than they were last year, it'll work this year. And then William, just not doing anything to deserve the spot, still gets to start anyway. So let's talk about the individual performances. Courtois, on the goals, it's very hard to say how, if he could have done better. He's not playing poorly, but I do feel like he's got to start helping out a little bit more because I do feel like the second goal at least, it should have been a save. It is kind of a difficult situation because the guy, I can't remember, Zaha is in one-on-one on him. But at the same time, I just feel like he's got to start making those important saves. Because he's making all the saves he should be making. But those are the saves that make you world class. Those are the saves that make you stand out. Watching De Gea make some of the saves against Liverpool this morning, those type of saves aren't the saves I'm seeing Courtois make anymore. He makes them occasionally, but for the most part, he's just making the saves he should be making. So I want to see a little bit more out of him. It's not like he's playing poorly, but I want to see him playing out of his mind. Because if he saves that Zaha chance, we're back. We're still in the game. We're not a goal down, and they're not feeling all the confidence. I guess start with Aspilicueta. Like I said, he didn't have a good game tonight, but a lot of that I feel like has to do with the fact that he doesn't have help back there. It's so hard when you're one defender out of three trying to do the work of all three defenders. It's very difficult. Last year he kind of did it, but he did it. I guess he felt like he had a little bit more cover because David Luiz was playing a bit better. So he felt like he could rely on, all right, so he's going to go in and make a challenge. I just need to be back here to clean up if it does get past him. But tonight it was like David Luiz isn't going into a challenge. He's not tracking back even if he misses the challenge, and Cahill's just playing like crap. And so it's like he feels like he needs to do everything. And a lot of the time that leads to, in a one-on-one situation where he should be like just leading him one way, he feels like he needs to dive in and win the ball because he feels like I can't let him get past me. I can't let him get past me. I can't let him get past me because there's no help back there for him. So I do feel like, yes, he did have a poor game, but honestly, I think it's more to do with the other two defenders. I think if they're not doing their jobs well, it puts a lot of pressure on him, and now he's not doing his job as well. David Luiz, Cahill, I've already talked about him enough. Just Cahill, not good enough, not good enough quality, and just not good enough work ethic. It's one thing to put in a good challenge here and there, but you've got to continue to work and put pressure on people, and he doesn't do that. David Luiz, like I said, he's back to the old David Luiz. Crazy balls going forward, just giving it away. His challenges are, the past few games have been reckless, and then tonight it was like he just didn't want to put in challenges. He's doing his own thing out there, so I don't know. He's not the same player he was last year, neither is Cahill. They both killed us tonight. Marcus Alonso on the left, first half didn't really do very well. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Palace were just flying at us most of the time, so we didn't have the chance to get forward very much. But second half, when we started getting forward, that's when he started popping up a lot more, which tells me defensively he's still got a lot of work to do, and that's something I thought last year. I thought defensively he still had a lot of work to do. So it's not good to see that he's still not there yet defensively. But when we get in the attack, that's when he does start to look more dangerous. Needs to work on the first touch. I don't know what was going on with him tonight, but it felt like every 3 out of 5 passes that came into him, his first touch takes him right into a defender. So definitely need to work on that, but he did put in some good chances late on in the game, so he worked hard. It's just the quality is starting to drop off there. Moses went out injured in the first half. I'm not sure what's going on, why we're having so many hamstring injuries, but here comes another one. But for the time that he was out there, he just he didn't look like he was up to pace. So I'm wondering if maybe he was already hurting coming in and then did something that made it worse. But it's sad that not only did we have to waste a sub on him, but we didn't have his pace throughout most of the first half and then going into the second half. Into the middle, Fabregas and Bakayoko, for the most part, played pretty well, both of them. Bakayoko, very good on the goal. And just, they controlled the midfield for the most part. It was just whenever the pass went in behind them, there wasn't enough cover back there. And so now, all of a sudden, there's a gap. And a lot of that, it's not their fault. The defense are the ones that see everything. They're the ones that should be organizing everything going on. And so they're doing a very good job of putting pressure, trying to close the ball down. The defense should be making sure that either the gap between them and the midfield is closed or making sure that anybody that gets into that gap is pressured. They weren't doing that. The defense were not doing their job tonight, and that made the midfield and the people around them, that made them look poor. So, I don't know. Seeing Fabregas go into some of his challenges, see him put the ball in several times, got the assist for the goal, could have had 3 or 4 more assists if we could finish a couple of the chances. He put in a lot of work in the midfield, so he definitely had a good game tonight. Bakayoko, more of his defensive work, just putting in pressure, being a big body in there, knocking people off the ball, winning it back. Would like to see a little bit more from him as far as his passing is concerned. It feels like sometimes his passes are a little bit astray, but he also worked hard and kept us in the game for a lot of it. So up into the front three, Hazard not really involved for most of the game. I don't know if he's recovering from international break. I don't know if he's still recovering from his injury or what it is, but just not as involved as I would have liked to have seen him. It wasn't until like the last 10 minutes that he started actually getting more involved and moving the ball around a lot quicker. So I don't know what's going on with him. I'm hoping it's just like a one-game thing. Maybe we weren't getting the ball up to him enough, and so he wasn't able to get involved enough. But yeah, not a good game from him. Batman, completely non-existent. I don't know what to say about him. I mean, he's a player that comes off the bench and does very well, but for some reason when he starts, he's not effective. He does not provide enough from the beginning of the game to help us in any way. There's not enough movement from him. There's not enough trying to hold up the play and keep hold of the ball. It's not good enough from him, and he's not putting in any sort of proof why he deserves to start. Why he deserves to get game time even when Murata's not there. I'm not seeing it from him. This has got to be the second or third game that he's played against a quality side that he just has not provided for us. So, yeah, it's got to get better from him, or else he's just slowly going to fade into obscurity. And then Willian, like I said, just not good from him. He hasn't been good the past few games. He wasn't good today, and just a lot of giveaways, not strong enough, no ideas whenever he picks up the ball. And his passes hardly ever come off. He's sending players into space when they wanted it to their feet. He's kicking it out of bounds when it should have been right there in front of him. I mean, I don't get it. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's not the same player anymore. As far as the subs that came on, Zappacosta came on for Moses after he got injured. Good performance from him overall. Just pretty solid from him. It's just he lacks a little bit of composure, I guess. His crosses are not bad, but I feel like he should be looking, instead of looking to cross whenever we don't have really a person to head it in there. When you've got Pedro and Hazard, they're not likely to win headers. He still did put in some very good crosses that they nearly got on the end of, but I'd prefer to see him try to work it a little bit more, because it seems like that's all he wants to do is just look to send in crosses. And if we have somebody in there like Murata, or maybe even if Bakayoko could get in, that would probably work a bit better. But at the time, it's like he doesn't see that there's nobody in there, or he's just hoping that maybe he can whip it in and get somebody on the end of it. But for what it's worth, he did put in some very good crosses. There were a couple that I thought somebody should have been on the end of. A couple for Hazard, a couple for Musonda, one for Pedro. So it's hard for me to really criticize him too much, because the crosses he was putting in were very good crosses. But I still would like to see him try to work the ball around just a little bit more and try to work himself into a bit of space and instead of trying to force it in. who came on next? Pedro came on for Batman. Came on, pretty much did what Pedro does, running around, moving quickly, putting a lot of pressure on people, trying to nip it off. Never really able to find that finishing quality, though. Just that one ball that he has, that it's a great shot to the upper corner, happens like once every 2 or 3 games, but today wasn't that day. He came on, he had a few shots, none of them were coming off, and it just kind of makes him look selfish on these days. So, and then Musonda came on, and in my opinion, did pretty well. I've been impressed with him. There's a lot of controversy going around about the whole, his Instagram thing, talking about how just all this work for nothing or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the full story, but what I do know is you put him out there, he performed pretty well. I say continue to give him a chance, especially if Batman's not producing, Willian's not producing, Pedro's not producing. You got to go to him. He's a good option. He provides a lot of hard work and just cleverness as well. I don't know why you wouldn't turn to him a bit more. So, honestly, I was waiting for him to come on after seeing Willian give away the ball for like the 10th time tonight. I was waiting for him to come on. I was like, all right, let's get Musonda on. I want to see him. I want to see what he can do. And he played pretty well. So, hoping to see a bit more of him. But that's about it for me. So, at this point, it's pretty much we're just saying, all right, the trophy is taking up way too much space in our cabinet. It smells pretty bad, so somebody else take it. And that's kind of what it feels like at this point. So, really disappointed, but hopefully this is a kick in the ass that we needed. At some point, you've got to wake up and say, all right, things are not good enough. Players aren't playing well enough. Our team is not working together well enough. Something's got to happen to make a change happen. The Arsenal result last year, losing 3-0, that was the change that we needed. That was the moment where we're like, all right, this isn't working. Let's change things around. He did it, and we went on to win the title. I don't know if we can do that this year because Man U and Man City have already started off very well, and we're already falling behind. So I don't know if we have the same chance to do that this year, but hopefully this is a chance for Conte to look at this and say, all right, so some of these players are not playing well enough. They need to be pushed aside so these younger players that are playing well enough can get in. And maybe this will be a chance for them to step up and we'll get a few wins. We'll push back and, getting into the Champions League spots again. But at this point, you kind of wonder, what do you do? Do you look for the Premier League? Do you look for the Champions League? At this point, I kind of say, let's go for the Champions League. We've put ourselves in a good position there. We've already started off very poorly in the season. Obviously, don't just say screw the season and continue to lose game after game. But let's put together a few results in the Premier League to get ourselves back into a good position, and then let's go for the Champions League. Let's go all out, put our best team on the field for it, and just try to win it if we can. So that's about it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Who do you think deserves to start? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.